Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. I am Maya Engel, and gosh, what another lovely day across northern Michigan. Really, this whole week has been really nice. It's been very warm, pretty sunny, and I'm loving this summer weather continuing into our September. Hopefully, it'll stick around into the weekend, especially if you have any outdoor weekend plans. So let's check in with Joe Charlevoix. Joe, I know you have the answer to that question. Will we see more warm weather and sunshine this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. And even it's going to feel even like, mid-July coming up here. So now I think you were at some high school football games last Friday. It was cold, wasn't
It
it?
was really cold. I
Remember
wore a
that?
long sleeve and a jacket, and I was still cold.
Yeah, we had 50s Friday and Saturday. It was like 2 days, and that was it.
Yeah.
And now since then we've warmed back up, and that's the story, Maya. It's going to be the warm weather and how long it's going to last, and then we probably could use a little bit of rain.
Probably could.
There's not much in the forecast.
Oh.
So we'll look at that and what to expect for your weekend too. Coming up a little bit later.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe. Let's start off with our top story of the day. So, up to 2,000 athletes are making their way to Frankfurt this weekend for the Ironman 70.3 triathlon. So, the race takes place on Sunday, but preparations have been well underway for a few days now. And the organizers are making sure everyone knows what to expect when they come to Frankfurt. So, whether they are participating in the event, or whether they maybe want to try to avoid the traffic. So Mark Gillette has a little bit on what you need to know for either side if you're participating or looking to avoid the busy area.
I can't encourage folks enough to really come see what it's all about.
Downtown Frankfurt, lots of things are moving. Cars, of course, that's to be expected. But a few more fancy bikes are whirling down Main Street. A few more runners pounding the pavement. Even the porta-johns aren't sitting still. All telltale signs it's Ironman weekend.
Well, our team is about day 3, actually day 4 almost, of setting up and getting prepared for Sunday's big event. So we're kind of putting the final touches on the venue setup.
This Sunday will mark the 4th time Frankfurt has played host to an event that continues to grow in popularity.
This year we're going to have our biggest field yet. We're going to be racing about 2,000 or maybe just a little over athletes. We'll have a field of pro men and pro women this year.
Thousands of athletes will be swimming, biking, and running Sunday morning. But between now and then, they sleep, eat, and shop, which can be a boost to local businesses' bottom lines.
You know, to keep things elevated, to have a small business owner have that much more business in a September and make it feel like a July, that's very important because, we have slow times in northern Michigan. And to be able to, add one more great weekend, I think it's extremely important to our economy as a whole.
A great weekend if you're racing, but what can be a challenging one for drivers looking to avoid the race course. Ironman has addressed that for both the benefit of spectators and those looking to avoid seeing them.
Traffic impact notifications, detour maps on kind of some easy ways for folks to get around the region during the event. Also, some of the big smartphone navigation apps like Waze and Google Maps will have our road impacts loaded into them. So folks can fire those up and get that information real-time live on their map app.
Sunday morning, these racks will be filled with bikes, the bay filled with swimmers, and 600 to 900 volunteers will line the course to make it happen.
Without the volunteers, we couldn't put an event on like this. We've got a really great crew so far.
Athletes will have worked hard to finish this event. Organizers are still working hard to get it started, but the end result for both is something special.
The excitement is building now, and it really comes to a head once the race gets started. And once athletes start finishing on Sunday morning is really when it gets magical around here.
And to talk a little bit more about the race, let's bring in Mark. He is joining us live now with a very lovely background. Hey, Mark.
You like this?
I love that.
Yeah, this is not my house. This is my secret stash. Second floor, sell a lot of plants up here. I was down here. I was like, hey, good time to stop in and talk Ironman.
Yeah, great location. So let's talk a little more Ironman. So in your story, you mentioned that probably more than 2,000 athletes will be coming to Frankfurt. Yeah. However, I'm sure a lot of them, they have family, they have friends. So how many people do they expect to have total in Frankfurt this weekend?
Everybody I saw, all the athletes I saw in Frankfurt today, they weren't there by themselves. And you're absolutely right. It's a lot of families, a lot of supporters, a lot of crowds. So it's really hard to estimate. You've got 2,000 people that are towing that start line. And with each one of them, it's reasonable to think that 2, 3, maybe 4 people are there. So the community of Frankfurt, which is an awesome little community, becomes an awesome, much bigger community, at least on the day. But the funny thing about Ironman is, unlike, let's say, a 5K or even a marathon race where a lot of people come into town for one day or maybe stay the night before, the athletes could start checking in their gear and equipment and attend briefing meetings, like course briefings and stuff, as early as today. So when a community hosts an Ironman event, oftentimes they're there for 2 or 3 nights, which, compounds how much money they're going to spend in those communities. You're talking lodging, you're talking gas, you're talking shopping in those shops. And as Trevor Tkach in the story pointed out, this is kind of that shoulder season. So this may not be a weekend that is traditionally a busy weekend in a community like Frankfurt. We haven't quite gotten to fall colors yet. Summer season is kind of done. Kids are back in school post Labor Day. So this is kind of a bonus weekend, as Trevor explained, for Frankfurt, as well as beyond Frankfurt, because there aren't enough hotel rooms in Frankfurt to handle all those people that we talked about coming here. So people will stay here in Traverse City, they'll stay in Thompsonville, they'll stay in Manistee and drive in order to get to the race day. So this is a big economic impact in northern Michigan.
And so, of course, that is one of the biggest positives of this
Yes.
awesome event. But on the other hand, we know that it can be frustrating for residents who live in the area and maybe they are trying to get to an appointment or just get anywhere around town. That can be a little difficult on race day.
Ironman fully admits that what caused a lot of the issues with the Traverse City event, they didn't want to duplicate in Frankfurt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are talking about an event that can take people quite a bit of time to finish. There are cutoffs to get through the swim, get through the bike, get through the run course. The run course in Frankfurt doesn't really have much of a traffic impact. A lot of it is on a bike path or it eats up one lane of a road. So that's not really an issue. The issue with these events is really the bike course, because it's very long and it needs to be up for a very long time. I've done both of these events. The bike course in Frankfurt is much more resident and traveler friendly than the original course was here in Traverse City. Ironman knew this going into this, that they needed to be better about the traffic flow. So if you are living in that area and you don't want to be impacted by the traffic, or you're a family and you're a spectator and you want to head out there and see your athlete or see the athletes, Ironman on their website, on the Michigan 70.3 website, has great course maps. And also, and I showed it in the story there's a traffic impact spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gold. It tells you exactly which roads and at what times it will be impacted and what times it will be lifted. So if you have to go somewhere Sunday morning, you can know, okay, I want to avoid this area. Or if you're coming back into Frankfurt, okay, by this time, this road will be reopened. So there is a roadmap. No pun intended. There is actually a roadmap to navigate around the traffic so that it has less of an impact. Ironman admits that these communities where they come and do this, they need them to be hosts, and they're gracious hosts, and they are so appreciative of the understanding in the community of, hey, we know that this is going to tie up some traffic. We know that things are going to get busy. And they're grateful and thankful that communities allow them to come in and do this. And they acknowledge this is going to be frustrating for some people, but you can navigate and minimize the impact that has on your travels Sunday morning.
And luckily, it's really just Sunday that will have the biggest travel impact.
In terms of traffic, like the roads are open tomorrow.
Yeah.
The crowds will be in Frankfurt, like they'll be there tomorrow. They're probably starting tonight. The crowds will be there, but the road closures start. And also, we should point out, if you're a boater in the Frankfurt Harbor, there will be a safety zone in place from, I believe it's 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. with buoys and patrol boats so that the folks can swim. So if you're a road traveler or a boat traveler, Sunday morning in Frankfurt, plan on things being a little bit unusual, 7 until early afternoon.
Good to know. So, Mark, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience actually participating in the Ironman 70.3 in Frankfurt?
It's a great course. It's a beautiful course. I've done a few Ironmen all over the country. The Frankfurt course is a beautiful one. We all know Frankfurt's beautiful, right? Yeah. It's a beautiful bike course. It's a little hilly. It's got some rolling hills in it. The run course it's a out and back, out and back. So, and it runs right into Alberta and then comes back. So it's a beautiful course. It's a fun course, good crowd support. Also, like when you go do one of these, you're bringing your family and friends and everything like that, right? It's always fun to do these events where when you're not the participant, there's other things for those people to do. You know, there's a good place to go grab a restaurant at the deli down the street, or beautiful things. Go to the beach, because I'm not very fast. You're going to have time while I'm out on the bike course. You go to the beach, you get a full day at the beach and come back, and I'm still not done with the bike. So it's nice when as an athlete, when the spectators and your support team can have an awesome place to spend the day while you're out doing what you want to do.
Sure. Just an all-around awesome event in an awesome area.
It is. It's a big economic driver. And I think everyone that's involved with Ironman, the first thing they would say is thank you to the community and to all the residents that may be inconvenienced by letting them have that event there.
All right, Mark, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
No problem. Have a great weekend.
You too. Okay, so we are going to show one more story, but before that, I do want to pull up our question of the day. It's not related to any of our stories today, so it's kind of random, but it makes sense for it being Friday the 13th. So are you superstitious and change your routine on Friday the 13th? 97% of people say no. Only 3% say yes. If you haven't voted yet, you can scan the QR code on your screen right now. I will also pull this up a little bit later, but I honestly didn't even realize that it was Friday the 13th until I got to work and found out this was our question of the day. So I am a little superstitious, though, when it comes to particular things. Like the Detroit Lions, for example. Last year, I bought a Jared Goff jersey and I wore it to the Thanksgiving game. And of course, the Lions lost to the Packers. And then after that, I was terrified to ever wear that jersey again. Until this year, I did wear it in week 1. I was at Ford Field and I finally decided it's a new year, so the superstitions, they need to go away, leave them in last year, and of course, the Lions won. So I am so back in my Jared Goff jersey, but like I said, this question of the day, a little random, not related to any of our stories. I will pull it up again later, but before we take our first commercial break, there's one more pretty cool story that I want to share with you. So on Thursday morning, 2 officers and others sprang into action and helped deliver a baby outside of the Roscommon County Sheriff's Office, and our Audrey Boucher spoke with some of those members who helped deliver that baby.
Jason Martin and Corporal Aaron Grace said yesterday morning started off as a typical day at work. That was until Chris Meir of Houghton Lake came running through the doors of the Roscommon County Sheriff's Office in need of help for his significant other, Jessica Schaefer, who was in labor with her 3rd child, Luca. Deputy Martin and Corporal Grace jumped into action to help with the delivery that was happening roughly 30 yards from the front door of the sheriff's office.
I was back in the jail when I heard over the radio dispatch come across saying that there is a female in labor actually at the courthouse where it came out at. So I instantly started walking up to the towards the courthouse when I was called by a fellow officer asking to come out and assist out here. I informed them I was already heading over to the courthouse, and they said it was actually in front of the sheriff's office. So I diverted and came out here. I'm also a EMT, so that's why they alerted me and asked me to come assist.
Despite being an EMT, Corporal Grace and Deputy Martin say this was a rare experience.
It's not something that we see very often in the field. So as far as training, I mean, we have continuing education training and training in like after a baby is born, but not a whole lot in training or like in service training.
That's the beauty of our job, is you never know what's next. And with speaking with my partners, you know, officers will go their entire career without being able to experience something like that. And it was a thrill to be able to experience that and to be able to provide my assistance when needed.
Even others in the neighborhood helped.
We brought a blanket out for the baby. It had pink hearts and purple hearts on it. And the dad was happy, the mom was happy, and there was 2 kids in the back. The officers didn't exactly let them know, but my girlfriend let them know. She was like, your mommy's okay and your baby brother's here, and we were so excited to see that everything went good and nothing went bad. It wasn't exactly a sterile environment to have a baby, you know. Wasn't an ideal area, but they got it done.
Baby's doing great, mom was doing great. They were very happy with our with our assistance, and we were able to give them a gift of some flowers and diapers and a card from the sheriff's office.
In Roscommon County, Audrey Boucher, Up North Live News.
Well, if you like the weather we've had the past couple days, I think you're going to enjoy the weather we're going to see this weekend. Sounds like another warm weekend, right, Joe?
Yeah, when you have these in like early June, you have a bunch more coming up.
Right.
So we don't know how many more there will be
Yeah.
moving ahead here. But yeah, it's going to be warm, Maya. Temperatures staying in those 80s for the weekend. Maybe a nice beach weekend for some spots. Let's start off. Let's go to Mackinac Island. You were there not too long ago.
Yeah, about a month ago.
About a month ago, yeah. There's a live look right now. The sky is still a little bit hazy. There's still a little bit of wildfire smoke overhead. It's not all that thick, but you can tell it's not quite so blue. Mackinac Island is actually one of our cooler spots across the area. These are the highs, though, today across northern Michigan. Grayling and Bel Air, you reached 88 degrees, and not far behind was Petoskey and Frankfort. We're both at 87, mid-80s, all the way up to Newberry. And speaking of the beach forecast, here it is for tomorrow. Partly cloudy all day to even mostly sunny. Waves will be less than a foot, so not much to worry about there. Upper 70s to upper 80s temperature-wise with a little hint of a south or southeast wind. Here's a look around the country tonight. There is what was Hurricane Francine spinning away here in parts of Tennessee. You can see a little bit of that rain there around Memphis. That rain is not going to make it to northern Michigan, but we do have a few clouds spilling in, trying to get in here. So we'll have a little bit of cloud cover overnight tonight through tomorrow. And that's what it looks like on Stormcast. There we go tonight. There's tomorrow. Stop this around noon. Pretty nice. Mix of sun and clouds. There's tomorrow night. Heading into Sunday, same story. Partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies Sunday. And the same thing on Monday as we head into the early part of the week, dry weather. Long-range forecast does not have any rain. This is the weekend. There's next week. Yeah, nothing for our area. Through maybe the end of next weekend, we have a long dry stretch on the way in. And also, besides the dry weather, you see where Traverse City, northern Michigan is there. This big ridge, the oranges are the warm air, is going to stick around. There's no real change next week. So the gist of the forecast is warm and dry. And there it is. You know, this looks like July if you were to look at this. 80s through early next week. It does cool down a little bit, just a smidge. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we get back into the upper 70s or low 80s next week, but still above normal. And again, a pretty long dry stretch on the way in here, Maya. So if you do have weekend plans, I'm sure many of you do. It does look, though, like a really nice weekend coming up. Looks pretty warm.
Thanks so much, Joe, for that. And we're going to take another quick commercial break. But when we come back, we'll check in with Harrison Beebe. He'll have some previews of some of the different high school football games happening tonight right after this break. We are just a few minutes away from the kickoff to week 3 of high school football games across northern Michigan. And I know our sports director, Harrison Beebe, is at one of those games. Hey, Harrison.
Yeah, it looks like I'm at a track, but, you know, you guys know most football fields are surrounded by tracks. It's just an easy way to put both those facilities together, especially because they're opposite seasons. Yeah, we're at Boyne City tonight. Big one coming up in just a few minutes. Ramblers and Raiders, Charlotte Raiders. These two have been longtime rivals from the Lake Michigan Conference days, and now they're in separate divisions. Boyne City got bumped up to the higher division of the NMFC Conference this year. But still, it's nice that these two are always on the books, facing off every year. It's so important to both these communities to play a big part in their rivalry. So I'm on a national anthem duty. The band's on the field, so I feel like it's going to start any minute now. I don't want to look like that guy talking on his phone while the national anthem's going on. But in addition to that, we got Benzie Central and Frankfort tonight. That's another fun rivalry we're going to check out. To our friends down south, Big Rapids and Reed City is always a big contest in the CSAA Gold Conference, and we'll be heading to that matchup tonight as well. So not a lot of conference matchups specifically between league rivals tonight, but a lot of interesting inter-conference matchups that'll kind of test teams early before they get into the meat of their schedules here in the end of the month of September and into October. So a lot of cool things to look forward to over the next few hours. And Maya, you're going to be heading to Thurlby Field to see TC West take on Bay City Central. That is a conference game in the Saginaw Valley Conference. As Titans 2-0, looking to go 3-0 for the first time since 2021.
Should be a good game. I'm looking forward to that. And we have crews all over the area going to, I think, 10 different games
Hopefully
tonight.
10 games, yep. If the schedule's aligned, we're getting 10 games tonight for hometown highlights.
So it'll be a busy one during sports at 11, but it should be a good one. So thanks so much, Harrison. We'll see you tonight at 11. And we're going to take another quick commercial break, but we'll be back in just a few minutes. It is Friday the 13th, so our question today is, are you superstitious and change your routine on Friday the 13th? 97% of people say nope, only 3% say yes. We do have a couple comments on our Facebook post with this question that I want to share with you. Riley says, nope, my parents were married on Friday the 13th, and they were married for 60 years. It worked for them, so now it's my lucky day. I love that. Carol says, nope, still in my PJs, hanging out with my dog at home. Tom says, I'm too tired to pay attention to superstition today. And Tom, I can relate to that. I felt the exact same way when I woke up this morning. So if you haven't voted yet, you can scan that QR code on your screen or head to our website, UpNorthLive.com. But that'll do it for tonight on Up North Live Unscripted. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. We hope to see you back here tonight at 11. But if not, have a great weekend, everyone.